Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel, trim restoration. So you have trim restorers and trim dressings. Trim restorers are there really to primarily restore the black finish, remove any oxidization or where the UV can get at them. And this bit looks terrible. It looks like embedded polish, but it's not for me. It's always been bad, that little rear quarter. That's a good bit to demo. And these trims just look a little bit, they were about 6 months ago done in solution finish and they're all jet black, but it's kind of wearing off and it needs to be redone. So, cue this video. Now I got this product sent to me free of charge from Turtle Wax. So I haven't had to pay for it, so that might make the review heavily biased. But I'm going to try and give you a balanced review of what I think of it. I'm going to be using it for the first time. So let's just talk about it. The product costs, I think, £12 for this 296. They've done it in millilitres. Good people. No of those fluid ounce jibber jabbers. And this is the product that I use typically to restore trim rather than just dress it. And that's solution finish, which is a black. I'm not sure if I want to use the word pigmented, but it's got some clever thing in it that Bert tells me all about. And it's a good product. I think this was one of the top ones in the PVD magazine, Pro Detailers magazine trim test. And I've always liked it. It's black, it's messy, you probably want to glove up, but it sets to like a hard resin. You can see on this bottle, you have to really like scratch it to get it off. So it's kind of like for me anyway, it's like a black resin. So this product here, first of all, I'm interested in the technology. Graphene Acrylic Trim Restorer. Restores and protects dull faded exterior trim, plastic like new. Graphene acrylic polymers restore, shine and blacken dull textured plastics while leaving behind superior UV protection against future fading, oxidation and sun damage. Okay. Durability. Coating doesn't wash off and will endure seasonal exposure. So that suggests to me that it will last seasons, which could be a minimum of 3 months, couldn't it? But you'd want it to kind of do 6 months. So shake the hell out of it in the directions. Ensure thoroughly clean and dry the areas to be restored. Okay. Wear gloves because the product is tinted. So it's tinted black. So is that the tinted by the graphene, or has it got a colour dye in there? What is the graphene doing? Because I don't know if this is like a enhancement to Turtle Wax's other trim restorers. Is this really a acrylic resin with black pigment in it that has the graphene added to kind of, I don't know, give it the old graphene enhancement? Would I buy it if it was just the Turtle Wax trim restorer and it didn't say graphene on it? Possibly not. So, that's all part of the things that we look at. Now, I've got some panel wipe solution and I've got just a little clean applicator here. Let's do a test set on this little piece here first. Okay, so this is going to go everywhere. Just spray that off. And I'll wipe all this down afterwards. Now, you could tape up if you're really into this. And taping up will stop you getting any of the black pigment on your paint. And if that dries, that's going to be something that's going to be harder to remove. Not impossible to remove. So a bit of tape is good. Or while the product is still wet, you can just be careful and kind of make sure you don't get any on the paintwork. And if you do, you remove it instantly. We'll check the instructions in a little bit. We also want this to be dry. So I'm just using the dry side of this. Well, that's wet. Actually, it looks kind of restored already. When it dries, it will fade back out. So I'm going to use this Geon applicator here for this. It's been used before. I don't think it's been used for a coating. I can't remember. But even if it has, it's going on plastic, so it'll be fine. It's got a nice edge on it, so I can probably use that edge there. Let's have a look at the rest of the instructions. Apply a small amount of product, which is open to interpretation, isn't it? Onto a foam applicator or microfiber towel. Ooh, microfiber applicator. That'll do. Using combination of back and forth and circular overlapping motions, treat the area to be restored. So you've got to go back and forth and circular. We're going full Rambo mode. Reapply a small amount of product as needed. So just get the desired finish, let it dry. A second application is necessary for even appearance and restoration. Well, that's a bit of a pain. I tend to get it as I like it, and then I'm happy. Yeah, is it definitely saying that? Yeah, so you've got to apply it twice. That's a bit of a pain. Turtle tip. Use Turtle Wax Max Power Car Wash for trim preparation. Okay, yeah, right. Apply it. Yeah, don't do it in the heat. Use a damp towel to wipe any areas. That's a great tip. Instruction videos can be found by scanning the QR package. Brilliant. That's good. I like things like that, but I want to read the instructions. Keep out of reach of children. Yeah. Okay. What else we got here? Yep, that's more producty stuff. Yep. Okay. So let's check we're dry down here now. We are virtually. A little bit on the edge there, still wet. I'll just get a little bit of the tissuer just to dry that off. Get under there. So that's bone dry. Shake this a bit more. You do need to glove up with this stuff. I've had a little... Oh, what have I done? I've just got black all over my hands. So is that from the bottle or is that from... What's that from? Oh, look at that. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's just where I've shaken it. It's come out the bottle. Oh, Jesus. So the problem is, you do not want to get this stuff on your hands. Look at it. If it dries, it's even harder to get off your fingers. How do I know? I've done it before. So that's interesting. That lid, oh, maybe the lid wasn't properly clipped down. Let's shake that again. Yeah, so the lid just needs to be clipped down. That's nothing, that's me, that's not the product. That's just me. Okay, let's put on a glovey. Well, I've missed the trick there. You put the gloves on before you get your hands dirty. I'll just put one on so I can carry on operating the camera. And let's pop this open. And we're not doing a massive area, so hopefully you can see that. It's nice, it's quite controllable to get it out. So I'm just going to put a line of it on here. And I've left a little gap so that I can stay away from my paintwork. So it says go cross side to side. That's nice. What? So that's no bother. Right, let's go in circles like it says. Right, let's get underneath and stay away. So if I keep the clean bit there, I'm not too worried about the underneath. I'm more worried about getting it on my paint. Let's do the same on that top bit. Oh, nice, John. Do want to make sure you get some product on there. Right, I think I would probably tape up. So I want to get it on there. So let's just get, bear with me. Bear with me. This, and I'm just going to put a little bit of my panel wipe solution to soak into that microfiber towel. Oh, great camera work. I'll just make sure there's nothing on my paint. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Oh, interesting. So it looked, when it was wet, it looked like it had gone really well. But I can see that that's perhaps why they're saying to work it. You can see now I've got a bit more on. So yeah, working it in little circles does just mean you've got it there. Looks pretty decent. Yeah, it's nice. I've got there. It's a little tar spot or something. It's quite like a bit like paint. You want to get that nice finish. So when you touch it, a bit like a ceramic, you put a little footprint in it. So we're just going to leave that to dry off. Oh, dropped my potato on the floor. Terrible. So let's put a bit more trim restorer on here. I'm primarily interested in how quickly I can do this as well. Let's find this horrible bit. Interesting. Yeah. It does need a bit of working. It's not like a wet. I can see why they perhaps say 2 applications, because you think you've nailed it. I mean, that really has hidden, where is it? That really has hidden that fadedness. I suppose that's where you need the pigment. But so far, no major concerns. Let's just make sure we've got under that bit as well. But I'm worried about the second coat thing. Yeah, interesting. I'd be pretty happy with that. I'm not sure if I need to go on with a second coat. But that's been a few minutes. Just buff in a bit more. You can see that's getting, it's quite a messy product, so you do have to manage it. You don't want to load up loads. If it's ever dripping or you're getting runs, that's you're using way too much. You just want to get that pigment on there. Yeah, it definitely looks a lot better than all this. You can see probably that's bits of the solution finish where I probably over applied it. That's probably what that is. That's interesting. But it does work, yeah. So you get, hopefully when you get, that's not a chip, no. So hopefully that gives you a feel for what the product's doing. And you probably see on camera that, you know, there's just like a bit where I've rough applied it and there's nothing there and nothing there. So the product obviously works. The real question for me is like durability. And sometimes when I do these reviews, I can't learn that much about the product unless I go and get a whole load of other trim restorers, like Solution Finish, like all the other ones, and you test them. You know, you have a big plastic panel and you test them all, and then you look at the prices of them and you compare them. Really, this just gives me an idea for how it goes on to the paintwork and how it goes on to the plastic trims. And yeah, no problems with this. The biggest thing for me, perhaps in the favour of the turtle wax, is that this product costs £12 and this, I think, costs £40. So what I'll probably do with this, the problem with this is it lasts for ages. I've had this for years. So what I'll probably do is just use the graphene one on my car for the next, well, it's going to be in storage. I'm preparing it for storage and see how that goes. Because really this, I'll only know in sort of 6 months to 12 months time. So yeah, I think the solution finish fans will say, well, this is just an acrylic with paint in it or some sort of tint. This has got some high-tech stuff in it and it's really resinous. But I just don't know. In reality, this is nearly a quarter of the price for the same amount, and it might be a good product. The negatives in my head are the fact that you might have to go over it again, but that is actually really nice. Yeah, that's nice. So look, I'm going to go ahead now and do the rest of my trim, and I'll just come back in a second. Okay guys, so I've finished off going all of the way around the trims. You might want to consider popping those trims off or taping up just to save. That would be the proper job. You take anything off this car, there's a risk of it breaking, so I've done it on the car. Anyway, let's wrap this video up. The negatives, it does need that second coat to get that finish where it's nice and even. And that's a bit of a pain doing it twice because I've been using the stool, but you're still sort of, you know, you just want to get done. So the 2-coat factor is the main negative for me. The other, it's not a negative, but it's an unknown. How does this compare durability wise to the rest of the market? And the truth is, I don't know unless you do formal testing. The positives are that the finish it gives is nice. It's not wet and kind of slimy or runny. It's not overly glossy. It's not overly resinous. It's not overly difficult to use. And the biggest positive for me is for 12 quid. You hardly use any, like, I was using more perhaps than they would normally use because I found that getting a bit more on there just made it easier. But I've still used a tiny amount. So that 12 quid will last years. And I think that would be a good price tag. So I don't keep all of the Turtle Wax products. That one I will keep. I've kept that Seal and Shine. That's my last bottle of Dry and Shine. I've kept that Pure Detailer. I've got the Graphene Detailer, and I've got I've got the Graphene Wax Spray still. I don't use Turtle Wax soaps. They're a little bit mild, and I want more cut in the winter. But I will keep this because it does pretty much what I want a trim restorer to do, and it will just go in my cupboard there with the solution finish. This is years old, does still work, and it does still set. But I'm worried, does this have a shelf life? And if it does, I've probably exceeded it. But if I had to guess which one would last the longer, I'd probably give it to the solution finish, but that's just a pure guess, who knows. So there you go guys, that is the Turtle Wax acrylic trim restorer. It's similar to solution finish in the sense that it's a messy thing to use. You do need to be a little bit careful, but it does work, and it does blacken out that trim, and it does give you a nice finish. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've used this one. What do you feel about it and all that good stuff. Take care.